All right, and we are live. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. In today's video, I have a special guest with me. We are going to have an epic conversation about economics, the stock market, and crypto, and also maybe, just maybe, a little bit of drama. So I have my man Jay here with Daily Crypto Analysis. If you want to
What's up,
introduce yourself.
guys?
Yep.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Jay. I run a channel called Daily Crypto Analysis where we mostly focus on data-driven analysis of the crypto markets. So I have a background in economics, and I'm also a physician, so a little bit of a varied background. But because of that, we do a lot of research on the channel and a lot of numbers-based analysis.
Nice, nice. Yeah, you have a very interesting background. You don't see too many doctors in the finance industry. I mean, I know doctors make a lot of money, but you just don't see very many of them on YouTube. So I think it's actually cool that you have that background where you got your bachelor's in economics, and then you also
Right.
ended up becoming a doctor. So,
Yeah, and as far as it goes, with regards to what we do here, I think obviously being a physician isn't directly related, but I think a lot of the research skills that you learn, I think that's sort of where the applicability. And prior to that, my background was economics, so just kind of pulling it all together.
yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So I'm sure economics has really helped you in terms of just understanding everything, because obviously
Right.
there are a lot of people that are new and don't know anything about economics and are kind of learning as they go. You're somebody who already kind of knew this stuff. Now you're in an environment where everybody wants to be an investor, you know?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is actually when you if you get a degree in economics, a lot of it is the theory of economics. So you're learning a lot of formulas of how the underlying economy works. But with a lot of degrees, you don't necessarily learn the practicality of what you're learning while you're in school. You have to go and get that kind of on your own, because they teach you the fundamental principles of the economy and how a lot of the theoretical math behind it, but not necessarily how you pull it all together. So I think you still have to have an interest in it and willingness to kind of go to the next level on your own.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And so we'll just start right off the bat. What are your thoughts kind of on the entire like crypto environment right now? I mean, obviously, we've had a ton of drama.
Right.
Bitcoin's holding 20K for now. Who knows how long that'll last? And yeah, you've got drama. You've got all these crypto brokerages that are basically on the brink of bankruptcy. Sam Bankman-Fried's trying to save them. What's your overall thoughts on the crypto market right now?
Yeah. So basically, the way that I do it is more of like a long-term approach. Um, so if you look back to prior cycles, a lot of what we're seeing right now is sort of part of the cyclical nature of the crypto market, in that, if you go back to 2013, heading into 2014, 2017, heading into 2018, and now 2021, heading into 2022, we've kind of seen this before. Although, and I've talked about this a lot, is the fact that there are a lot of underlying principles in the economy right now that are unique to the crypto market specifically. If you're an equities investor, this is, I don't think there's anything so extraordinary happening right now that, as someone who's been in equities for, years or even decades, that they haven't seen before. I mean, you guys can harken back to the 2008, 29, and then the 2000, like through 2002, those sort of crises that led to massive price crashes. Crypto's never experienced that in the broader economy. So the crypto market has kind of been operating during a time from 2010 through 2022, where we've seen the broader economy do nothing but, it's rapidly increased since that time, with only a few small pullbacks. So while we're seeing, the pullback in the crypto market right now, and it's kind of in line with what's to be expected from prior cycles, I think there are a lot of things going on right now in the economy that make this a higher risk period for the crypto market as a whole. Because a lot of people, especially if you're on YouTube or Twitter, the common narrative has been, it's different now, bigger market caps, the price can't go down 80% like it did in 2018 and back in 2014. It can't do that anymore. But at the same time, the crypto market has never experienced an actual bear market before. And so that's kind of, and when I say a bear market, I'm talking about, you know, in the economy. There was a bear market in, you know, 2020.
So,
By definition, there was, or, you know, a recession. I'm sorry. There was a recession in 2020.
Yep.
Technically, because the Fed sort of printed us out of that recession real quick. It was, you know, the shortest recession in history by definition, which is 2 quarters of, you know, decreasing GDP, et cetera. But now we may be heading into that more prolonged recession. And if we are, I mean, you're going to see the crypto market, specifically altcoins with no use, altcoins with no users, that kind of thing. You're going to see those get destroyed more so than they already have been.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me personally, I actually think that we really should have had a prolonged recession in 2020. Like
Right.
there were signs even in 2019 that we were going to get there. But what happened is, it's like you said, the Fed came and saved the day. I'm not so sure they're going to do that this time. So my question is, because I think we're going to have a prolonged recession. I think we're going to have a real one, like not a 30-day one. We're going to have like a 300-day one, you know, one that's not nice and things like that. So my question for you is, I think a lot of people have these questions of how bad do you personally think it can get? Because I know you know my opinion, because I came on your channel and I gave you what I think will happen to Bitcoin and the other cryptos. So obviously we know things are going to go down, but the question is, how bad can it get? Can we go back to 2017, 2018 levels? Could it hold here? Is Bitcoin going to go to an all-time high this year? Which people on Twitter are saying that.
Yeah, well, I just posted on my Twitter. I said, you know, my buddy showed me a tweet, and it was this guy, and he's like, I didn't recognize the name, and he goes, you know, my prediction for the end of the year, or my target for the end of the year is, and they say words like target to give themselves credibility, because that makes it sound, ooh, this guy knows what he's talking about. He says his target for the end of the year is, it was like 130K to 210K. And without recognizing the name, I said, I guarantee you that dude has a lot of followers. And he's like, yep, the guy had almost 100K followers. So that is the, you know, the people in this space, specifically the people that became popular during the bull market, they become popular in the bull market because they prey on the new retail investor who comes in. They don't really know what's going on. All they do is see number go up, and it does that for a couple weeks or a couple months. And so they think that, you know, based on this narrative that gets propagated by, you know, people with hundreds of thousands of followers who are ostensibly knowledgeable about the space, they see them talking about that. So they're like, yeah, look at this guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in crypto for a while. But they don't know what they're talking about. They're either A, deceitful, or they're B, they're saying things just to grow their own user base. And so you're not, you know, they don't believe this crap like Bitcoin. There's going to be hyper Bitcoinization, and Bitcoin's going to be how you pay for everything in the economy. They don't actually believe that stuff. They say it because you're growing their USD value. They believe in fiat, and they're using you to acquire more fiat while telling you that, you know, and I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I just don't think that, you know, it's this type of scenario where USD, it's going to be worth 0 in 2023, and, you know, that sort of thing. And because of this narrative, it gets pushed to people that, you know, by no fault of their own, they're using these people who, you know, appear to be experts. They're listening to their advice, and these people are giving them bad advice and just ultimately getting them wrecked over and over and over again.
Yep, absolutely. And so, do you think that Bitcoin could go under 10K? Do you see it going that low, or do you think that's a little much?
So I think it really depends on, and, you know, this is kind of a cop-out answer, I'll be honest. You know, I don't necessarily believe 17K was the low. Now, I will say, back in December, I did suggest on my channel, and you know, it was kind of tough growing the channel at first because of this. I have lots of videos talking about, you know, Bitcoin to 20K. And this is back when Bitcoin is at 40, 50K or whatever, because I really believe that we would ultimately head back to those levels, because a lot of the evidence suggested that we would. And now that we're down here, ultimately we're in uncharted territory because, if the economy is in a new stage of its cycle, that's ultimately going to have, an impact on the crypto market. Because as you said, when you came on my channel, it's all about liquidity. And as liquidity is being pulled out of these markets, that is going to have impacts on the crypto market. And liquidity is being pulled out at a rate which, we haven't seen before. So, and that's not necessarily a reflection on the crypto market. That's a reflection on what's going on exogenous to the crypto market. So, what the Fed is doing, for instance, what these supply chain issues that are going on in China, that sort of thing. And that's going to have an impact. So ultimately, I would say, I don't know if we go below 10K, but I certainly think that people should at least plan for the possibility that it happens. And it's a non-zero possibility. In fact, I would give it, something on the order of greater than 25% chance that we do see, at least for a short amount of time, the price head below those kind of levels.
Nice. Yeah, I know for me, I personally think that it probably will. I think it very likely will, like extremely likely. And I think that when that happens, I think that that's when we see the real panic. But I do agree with you. It's definitely going to depend on a number of factors. I mean, I could definitely be wrong. It could go to like 15K, consolidate there, and then start going up from there. I mean, you just never really know. But my main
Right.
worry is what's going on with these crypto brokerages and the fact that Bitcoin and crypto has just never seen a long-winded recession. And I think a big reason, I know a lot of people think that, oh, crypto's going up because it's to the moon. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing ever. But I really think that it was because of the Fed. I really do. And for me personally, I think without the Fed support, I don't see how Bitcoin, can survive this, to be honest. I really don't. I strongly believe that it's just going to keep getting downside pressure. And I also think that crypto is very much correlated to stocks. And I think the stocks are going to go lower. So I think as stocks go lower, which by the way, I think July is going to be a very bad month for stocks and crypto.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of selling pressure. But of course, I hope I'm wrong because I'm with you. I actually like crypto. I just view it as a speculative asset and it makes up a small percentage of my portfolio. But I'm not a crypto hater. I just try to be realistic here.
Right. Yeah. And I think and nothing, if nothing else, you're being pragmatic because you have to look at history. You have to look at what the data says. There's another channel that I've done some collaboration with that they're also kind of into the data side of the of the crypto markets, and they just released a video where they were talking about, they did a regression analysis showing the correlation between the Bitcoin market and the NASDAQ. And they showed that if, based on the current correlation, and this is going back to like 2014, if the NASDAQ goes down another 20%, correlation says that Bitcoin will be down as low as $3,000. And, 20% in the NASDAQ, that would be a pretty severe retraction from here, but it wouldn't be that bad. That's kind of, what you have to kind of come to terms with is the fact that we are actually in that type of situation. Look over in China. Imagine the global economy that we're in, if the real estate market started collapsing in China, or if there were some resurgence in COVID, we're kind of teetering on the balance right now. And this isn't, meant to be doomsday type scenario stuff, but at least you have to understand that we are in a precarious position right now. And I think that's what a lot of people don't appreciate. And so, if nothing more, it's not about these things have to happen. It's about people aren't prepared for it. And if it does happen, you at least need to be able to accept the fact that that is a real possibility, that these events do play out like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Now, you like other altcoins besides Bitcoin, right? Like, I think you're not just a Bitcoin guy. I think you like Chainlink, right? And maybe like Polkadot. Like, there's some other cryptos that you like, right?
Yeah. So I'm primarily, I'm primarily in Bitcoin. Now, I wouldn't even say that Bitcoin is for any particular reason. At the end of the day, I don't really care about any cryptocurrency. They're all the same to me. They're vehicles as an investment, and I like them because other people like them. if that makes sense. I'm not like, I don't have some deep-seated conviction, for instance, in the crypto market. I do think that there's a lot of potential there, but it's not like I'm emotionally attached, or I wouldn't call myself a Bitcoin maxi or anything like that, because a lot of those people, they're not investors. They're zealots or idealists. They have one narrative that's all they believe in, and everything else is wrong. So I do like Bitcoin, and then beyond that, I start looking at things like Ethereum and its competing layer one networks. So things like Solana, although it's had its own slew of issues, although technically, quote unquote, it's in its beta stage still. So take that for what you will. But they've had lots of network outages, for instance. And then there's things like Cardano that it's got absolutely hammered in its price, and it's been around for a while. It has a ton of issues on its own, but it has a big name behind it. It has a ton of investors in it. So, you have to consider all of these things. The assets that have a lot of investors, they're going to tend to, at least for a short amount of time, if a bear market does come around, they're going to tend to recover because they have, lots of support behind them, lots of people that are probably going to jump back in, like we've seen with things like XRP. XRP didn't get all the way back to its prior all-time high, but if you look at it in terms of percentages of what its average price was in this cycle compared to last, it even recovered, and they're in a legal debate with the SEC. So, I think that's something people also need to consider, is looking for assets that have a founded user base.
Interesting. Now, you said something very interesting. So if I'm hearing you correctly, did you basically say, like, are you in crypto for the utility, or are you really in it just like it's just an asset to you? You think it's something that will get mass adopted in the future? Or do you actually believe that crypto has utility?
Well, I would look at it like this. I may be invested in Google because it's a good, it's a product, and lots of other people like it, and, continue investing in it. And it's, it has future potential. Or Tesla. I don't drive a Tesla. I would never drive a Tesla, but I may still invest in it. And that's how I look at the crypto market. I look at its potential, and I do see that there's potential there. Especially in the DeFi space, although we've seen, a lot of the quote unquote warts come out with the DeFi space, as we're seeing that a lot of these, a lot of these protocols have been over leveraged, or they've had hacks. And, like you said, a lot of these exchanges that were offering these interest rates, it wasn't realistic to offer those rates. And ultimately, things like Celsius, you can't even get your funds off of Celsius now. So there's and that brings up a whole new slew of issues, is incoming regulation that we haven't even, we don't even know what that's going to look like yet. And it's not just the US we have to worry about. It's, a bunch of other countries in Europe and Asia. Singapore is trying to limit its, its population from investing in crypto, for instance. I just saw on the news yesterday. So, there are systemic risks right now all over the place. So it's like walking through a minefield in the crypto market at the moment.
Absolutely. Nice. Now, what do you think about Sam Bankman-Fried? What do you think about Sam Bankman-Fried and him trying to basically bail out the entire crypto industry? And, do you have any thoughts on him at all? Do you think there's something sinister behind FTX or anything like that?
I mean, with that kind of thing, I've reached a point where they have their motivations, those kind of guys, and trying to guess what they are is always a fool's errand, because here's his motivation. It's to make money. It's not benevolent. He's not out here trying to save the crypto industry, whether he goes bankrupt doing it or not. He's going to profit from what he's doing in some way or the other. And, I don't know the inner workings of exactly, how he's going to achieve that. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's doing it to lose money. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I don't know if it will ultimately be a good thing or not, but it is what it is. And I don't think it's benevolent. I'll just say, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm actually kind of working on a video on him. I'm still doing research. and some of the things that I like uncovered about him were like very, very interesting. Like I guess FTX was founded in Hong Kong. Like he started it in Hong Kong, then he moved it to the Bahamas, and it's just very fishy to me that it's not in the U.S. So he's able to avoid some regulation. Then you got these rumors that he wants to buy Robinhood, he wants to buy BlockFi, he wants to buy basically everybody, and yeah, I definitely think there's a monetary motivation behind it, but I feel like there's something else. It feels like this guy is literally trying to take over crypto, like
Yeah, well,
literally.
I mean, he's got to compete with Binance, and they're sort of the,
Yep.
you know, the mysterious. We don't have a headquarters. That way, how are you going to regulate us? We're everywhere. We're nowhere. So.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So let's talk about. I guess you had a beef with another crypto YouTuber who's
Oh
very
yeah,
big. Yeah, and his name is Benjamin Cohen, right?
Len. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know his full name. Okay, well, let's talk about him. So, what's the full story behind that? Like, what exactly happened? I guess, how do you exactly feel about him? Because, you know, I don't know him very well. I don't know
Yeah.
too many crypto YouTubers because I'm really more of a traditional finance guy. The only ones that I really know is like, what's the guy's name? Guy with
Oh,
Coin Bureau.
yeah, Coin
Coin
Bureau.
Bureau.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know him. I know Digital Asset News. I don't really know much about Benjamin Cohen. So kind of tell me about that because I saw you guys going back and forth like a week ago and then he deleted the tweets.
Yeah, well, he deleted them before, you know, he deleted them before I could get to it, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
first of all, I'll just put it this way. He, you know, he's kind of an OG in the game. He's been, or, you know, in YouTube anyway. So he was back since 2019, kind of doing his thing. And, he, you know, he does data analysis as well. So, you know, I guess to get to the bottom of the beef, when I first started my channel, so Ben Cohen is known like one of his big, you know, one of his big things that he's known for is having a model, you know, a machine learning model. So that was a, you know, a skill that I've acquired over the years. And I too made a model. And when I put out my model, basically it looks kind of similar to his, although, you know, different. And I don't know what techniques he's using, but we both used the same same statistical analysis software to make the model. And I'm getting to a point here. So in other words, they both look similar aesthetically because of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because when you're using the same software, you know, the output's going to look similar. So whatever, when I released the model, when my channel first came out, and we're talking like September or October of 2021, you know, I made a video and I just put his name in the video because I'm like, this is Ben's model, this is mine. You can see they're very similar. And I gave him all, you know, all the credit. I said, he's, you know, one of the best channels, whatever. And then sure enough, within like 30 minutes, I get basically yeah, you need to cut that shit out. You can't be using my name in your videos. Mm-hmm. So whatever, that was that. And, you know, we kind of left it there. And now this next part is kind of up for speculation. Well, first of all, a lot of the way that my channel kind of blew up initially was he live streamed my model on his channel on accident. so, you know, a lot of people came from his channel to mine because if you want access to his model, it's like $100 a month. Okay. So mine is free. It's always been free. And so a lot of people came when they saw my model on his live stream and they came to my channel. And so there were a lot of, you know, almost a built-in rivalry because of that series of events.
Yep.
And most recently then on Twitter, what he was talking about. So I made a few videos this year and just coincidentally, out of nowhere, he makes the same exact video with, on 2 occasions, this same title as me. And so I called his ass out on it. And, you know, he didn't like that. So he made up some stuff saying that, you know, I stole it from his channel because I subscribed to his, you know,
course or whatever.
Yeah, the premium listing.
Yeah. I saw that. Okay.
And it's like, okay, bro, if you, and you know, all his sycophants, they're all like, oh yeah, you stole his model, or you stole his product, or you stole his video that he hasn't even released yet. It's like, all right, whatever you say. So that was kind of that.
Nice. Are there any other crypto YouTubers that you maybe got into it because of that? Because I know Ben Cohen is a really big crypto YouTuber. Or is that the only one? Has everybody else been cool? Because I know how
Oh
those
yeah.
guys are. They all know each other.
Oh yeah, they're all boys. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's how it is. They kind of everyone who's been around. Now, I will say I have no beef with the guy personally. In fact, I don't mind a little Twitter trolling, so it's kind
You're
of
good at that.
yeah. So it's kind of fun for me. And I do think he's, you know, I think that his content tends to be some of the better content actually compared to you know, in and of itself, it's good content. And compared to 95% of the other stuff out there, you know, he's keeping it more realistic than you know, most of these other guys.
The Moon Boys.
Yeah, let's put it this way. These other guys, I don't even think are worth mentioning when I'm, you know, talking about people, because they're you know, they're people that are talking about the market in such an unrealistic way that it's not even, you know, worth going into with them.
Nice. Okay, so because I'm a traditional finance guy and I mostly talk about stocks on my channel, there's a faction of people who follow me who hate crypto,
Right.
and they think it has no utility and they think that it's just absolutely worthless. Can you kind of talk about why you think crypto is worth it and why it's worth your investment, I guess?
Well, you know, I guess there's a few different approaches to that. I guess a lot of it depends on, you know, what type of, for instance, one of the reasons that I think Bitcoin is so useful is because of the fact that, you know, it's an open ledger. And so a lot of the shenanigans that go on in the traditional finance market, you know, that can't happen on the Bitcoin network without, you know, people knowing about it at least. So, you know, I think there's a bunch of different ways. And, you know, I think it all depends, like I said, what type of person you are. And the Bitcoin maxis would go into privacy and, you know, a secure network and the 21 million coins thing. And a lot of those things, you know, I don't necessarily think are as important as they try and make them out to be. But I do think there are a lot of opportunities, or at least a lot of reasons why the DeFi space is going to be, you know, an up and coming market, in spite of the fact that we've seen it sort of crumble all around us right now. But I think that's kind of to be expected in a burgeoning market. You're going to have scammers, people, you know, sort of taking advantage of the system. But I do think that once a little regulation comes in, and that's another thing, people hate to hear that. People don't want, when it comes to crypto, they don't want you to say anything about regulation. But at the same time, they, you know, they don't want scammers and, you know, things like Luna to sort of play out. But you can't, you're going to have that if you don't have any sort of regulation. So that's to sort of kind of talking to both people here, the traditional no crypto people and the crypto people. I think they're both a little off base, and it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle as far as a lot of the stuff goes. And then there's the whole ownership facet of Web3, which is a whole different can of worms. And, you know, I think that's an entirely different discussion.
Yeah, here are my thoughts on it. I think too many people, and I think my followers fall victim to this too. Some of my followers who really don't understand crypto, they basically equate Bitcoin and Ethereum to like Vote Inu, Saitama Inu, Shiba Inu.
Right.
And I always try to explain that those are two completely different things.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
my bad. I think there might be an echo on your end.
Oh, I'm echoing?
Well, I'm echoing. I don't know if it's me.
Maybe still hearing it?
I can hear myself echo. No, not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess technically it would the same argument could then be said about, what's the difference between something like the US dollar and some third world country currency that, has hyperinflation and ultimately no value. Just because, on their most basic level, they're the same thing doesn't mean they're the same thing. I guess that would be the best way of putting that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think things like NFTs, and I'm not saying every NFT is terrible, but obviously NFTs are like even more speculative than crypto itself.
Right.
And I think what kind of hurts the crypto space is just all this foolishness. There's just so many scams in the space. And it's unfortunate because I actually do really believe in crypto in the long term. But I always tell people my two main projects that I'm currently interested in at this point is really just Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think there's just a lot of crap in this space. I mean, there's 19,000
Yeah.
cryptocurrencies, but I see this guy right here, Adam, made a good point, and I agree with him. I think that crypto does actually solve problems, and I think that that's the reason for it. I'm not saying that crypto is going to be the ultimate currency in the world, but I do think that there's a place for crypto in our society, which is why I'm personally comfortable with allocating 5% of my portfolio to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to Adam's point here, I would say it's a bit hypocritical because in his first sentence, he says, who's to say what is and what is not a crap coin? And then he calls 99% of them crap coins in the next sentence. So, I mean, it's the same kind of, 99% of them are crap coins, worthless. They have no value. But then that 1%, it's not about the necessarily any individual coin that we're talking about. I think it's about what it can be, what the technology represents, and what the technology can do, and why it confers advantages over the traditional fiat market.
Yeah, definitely. Now, are you interested or do you invest in stocks at all? Because I know obviously you have a bachelor's in economics. I don't think you ever talk about like stocks on your channel, but are you interested in it? Have you been paying attention to the stock market at all?
Yeah, I watch it. I don't invest in individual stocks just because um, I don't think that I have enough time based on what I do. In my crypto research, there's just not enough time to then also do in-depth analysis of the stock market. So I mostly invest in ETFs, primarily NASDAQ. I'm mostly involved in tech stocks.
Nice. So you're basically putting your money in like index funds, kind of.
Yeah,
That kind of
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. What are your thoughts on like a Tesla? How do you feel about something like that? I know Tesla is like a big hype stock out there. Are you interested in that at all?
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down to, it. I kind of look at Tesla as like being, it's kind of valued almost like a crypto asset is, in that, it has these massive run-ups and then it has huge pullbacks. So, it's basically like one of the riskier assets in the market, but it also has a huge upside potential along with it. And that's kind of where it comes down to, like the I know, like the carbon credit trading type thing that Tesla does. I don't have time to understand how that all works. What the intricacies of that are. On a very basic level, I can know what their business model is, but I can't dive into that and then dive into all these different components of each individual company. Like Google, for instance, it's like I don't know how anyone could do that. I mean, they have so many different facets to their business, and Tesla is kind of the same way. They have their hand in so many different things that you could literally probably run a channel just analyzing that one asset.
Yeah. Let me respond to this because these guys are going at it a little bit and you can give your opinions too. I'm actually going to disagree with these guys here. So these guys are basically going back and forth. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm a crypto hater because I'm not, but they're basically going back and forth about why crypto is so valuable. And in my opinion, they're just bringing up all this speculative stuff. They're saying like Cardano has this thing going on in Africa and Allegrand is putting Nigeria in a blockchain for intellectual property. I mean, it's great that they're doing that, but I wouldn't call that actual utility unless it actually works. I mean, we're seeing different people use crypto for different things. And most people who bought crypto are unprofitable in it, to be completely honest. Like you look at some of these companies that are buying Bitcoin, like MicroStrategy, and I think El Salvador has bought crypto. And then I think there was another nation that was going to adopt Bitcoin, but then they decided not to because there just wasn't enough demand. So I just want to make sure we don't get too emotional and speculative over this stuff and start bringing up things like this and try to use it as research. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, well, I do think there's a, you know, I think there's a difference, and I want to word this correctly. I think there's a difference between the way that crypto can and should be perceived in a country that has a functioning banking system compared to, you know, like, for instance, they're talking about, and I don't know necessarily how this relates to Nigeria, but there's a lot of countries out there that don't have stable banking systems. And so when you don't have that, and you don't know if you put your money into the bank, is it going to be there? It's kind of like Celsius, you know, the money might go in and it never comes out, or, you know, the government may confiscate it from you or force you to store it in their denomination. So in that regard, I do think that's absolutely one of the primary use cases for cryptocurrency, is that, you know, it's a way where you have private funds that can't be confiscated. At least they shouldn't be able to be confiscated if you're, you know, doing it in the right way. And that is enabling people that are from these lesser or, you know, more unfortunate circumstances to sort of have some manner of stability, in spite of the fact that, you know, that brings on the whole other question of, are you actually calling cryptocurrency stable? You know, because if you were storing it in UST, for instance, thinking that you're storing your US, you know, your funds in a US dollar pegged asset, those became worthless. But, you know, you do still have things like USDT, USDC, et cetera. So I think that's how we're seeing a lot of the cryptocurrency market sort of being adopted in these third world countries.
Okay, nice. So then what are your thoughts on Tether? Because I know there's been a lot of talk on Tether possibly depegging and what that could possibly cause for the crypto industry. And also Tether is shrouded in a lot of controversy
Right.
for a number of different reasons, and people aren't entirely sure what exactly is going on there. What are your thoughts kind of on Tether?
Yeah. So from what I've seen, Tether has actually been reducing the percentage of the dollars that are backed by corporate debt. So they've significantly reduced that. I think it was down from like 30 billion down to like, I don't know, 8 billion or something like that. So these comments are wild.
Yeah, they're going. Yeah. The funny part is I've never even seen these guys before. Like, well, I think I've seen Adam Piper before, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Or Army Piper, but go ahead.
So yeah, I don't know. Tether's kind of, I do have a, you know, a significant amount of kind of the funds that I have on the sideline in Tether. I think a lot of it's, you know, I think of a lot of it's hype and overblown, but, you know, there may be a significant element of truth to what they're saying, in that there is risk with Tether. But I also think they've been vetted to a certain degree. And, you know, I don't think it's quite as, you know, I don't think it's quite as threatening of a situation as people like to make it out to be. And it all comes down to this whole drama attracts clicks, attracts views. And the more drama you have, you know, the better your channel's doing. And so stuff like that. And it leads to sort of the fear getting propagated throughout the, you know, YouTube, Twitter space.
Nice. So I guess the best thing I could think of now is, what do you think would happen in crypto influence land, like YouTube, things like that, if basically every crypto went to zero? Like how do you think that would go? And I know that sounds crazy to say, but I'm just trying to stick up for the traditional finance people here. I mean, technically,
Yeah,
there's not really anything that could stop it from going to zero. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think it'll ever happen, but
right.
there is still that small, maybe 1% chance that it could.
I mean, lots of these assets, a lot of the altcoins, I would say numerous altcoins that are in the top 100 right now will, if not go to zero, because that's what is going to zero, because someone will also always have at least some of the tokens out there. But approaching as close to zero as you can get, I think a lot of the assets out there right now will, because like Adam said earlier, 99% of the projects out there are crap. It's very similar to the stock market back in 2000. Everyone can see that there's potential, that this is something and it's real and it's probably going to be big. But, when a market is new like this, we're just throwing crap at the wall and trying to see what sticks is the bottom line. And that's what they were doing back in 2000. You had all these, people were getting this VC funding without even having a product that they could take to market. And the crypto market is the exact same thing. It's identical in that regard. So, I think we're seeing that a lot of this stuff has no use. It has no users. It has no, there's absolutely no use case, and ultimately will go to zero. But it's all about, at the moment, I think it's about trying to figure out what the technology exactly is and how can we use it in the future, and in what ways will people want to use it. And I think that's what we're trying to learn right now. And and that completely, I guess, is tangential to what you asked me, which is what kind of happens in the space. And I have a hard time thinking that things like Bitcoin necessarily go to zero, although Peter Schiff makes it his priority every day to tweet that it is for some reason. Maybe because his investment has been unchanged in price for the last 12 years.
Well, you saw he just lost his bank account,
dude. I mean, that was hilarious. He's complaining that the government, they confiscated his money, and then Binance immediately started responding to him, which is also hilarious because Binance, never mind. I'm not even going to go down that path.
Yeah, no worries.
I already have the stock people not liking me. I don't need the crypto people not to like me also.
No, you're good, man. One thing I like about you is you tell the truth. That's part of why I have you on here. I'm kind of the same way, to be honest.
Yeah, that's how that's my buddy's the one who put me on to you. He's like, you'll like this guy.
Yeah, I go in on them. So are you familiar with any of the stock YouTubers, any of what I call the grifters? Because that's a lot of what my content is centered around, is literally just going after them, which, by the way, I'm going to start going after the crypto people too pretty soon. So,
I got names for you.
I was about to say, don't be surprised if some people are on the list, because I go hard on them.
But here's the thing. They aren't, the crypto guys, I don't know how, but they're not used to anyone going in on them, and they get real butthurt whenever you do. So you'll get some rises out of them. That's for sure.
Interesting. That's interesting. They don't have anybody going after them. Because when I looked at the crypto people, I'll just tell you, I did some research a little bit because I want to start going after them. There's more scammers in the crypto world than there are stocks, and it's mind blowing because there are a lot in stocks. But I mean, in crypto.
In the crypto market, I would say that the ratio of legitimate channels is very similar to the ratio of legitimate crypto projects. There's a very small amount of channels that care about, keeping things in a realistic perspective. And then there's a huge number of channels that only care about driving up their views. And then there's a few channels that are pretty big that I think they believe what they're saying, but they're wrong. Objectively, they're wrong. And, and I can say that confidently because we just saw it play out. When Bitcoin didn't go to 200K, 300K, the crypto market didn't go to $10 trillion, et cetera.
Yeah, that's just absolutely outrageous. And, what's interesting is, I know in the stock world, it just blows my mind, because what I noticed when I started doing some research on these crypto YouTubers, I noticed that a lot of them do not know anything about crypto. They're literally guys who started the channel, started talking about crypto, they just started getting views and they started
Yeah.
getting subscribers. So they just ran with it.
Yeah.
And it's scary because you have that in the stock world too. You have people in the stock world who will literally pump FTX, the sponsorship, and they will actually talk about why they're buying crypto and things like that. And they don't even know anything about crypto themselves. It's like, dude, I know you don't know anything about crypto.
Yeah.
Like if I asked you to just explain it to me, explain what it does, when was Bitcoin created, oh, they couldn't explain that. It's the craziest thing ever. I really feel like a lot of people just jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, you know, I always see you talking about that Meet Kevin dude.
Oh.
I don't know anything about him, but
ooh, don't get me started. Oh, he's one of the worst guys in history, man. You're gonna have me go on a 20-minute tangent about that clown. And you know what? I just might do it.
What's so bad about him?
Oh God, what's good about him? Okay, so let's start it off. Let's start it off. The guy started his channel like freaking trolling. Like, I don't know if you know who Dave Ramsey, Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
You know, those weird people.
Right.
He started off trolling them to grow his channel. Then he got on the Wolf of Wall Street's podcast to troll Grant Cardone even more. Then he got sued by like both of them. You know, he just did whatever he could to grow his channel, but he was mostly a real estate channel. So he actually kind of did a little bit of what I did. He was exposing other people. He mostly did real estate. And what happened was the pandemic came. And so he started talking about stimulus checks. And then the stock market went into a bull market. This man talked about every meme stock you can think of. Voyager Digital, Nano Dimension, GameStop, AMC. He just rode the freaking bandwagon. And because he's charismatic and entertaining and fun to watch, he built up a huge following. But my main issue with this guy is he is an absolute 100% stone cold grifter who doesn't know what the flapjack he's talking about when it comes to stocks.
Right.
It is scary. So that's my main issue with him. Like you said, Ben Cohen, you said like his content's cool, he's realistic. Me, Kevin ain't like that. His content is terrible. The guy goes on here saying, I'm buying Tesla at $1,000. It's going to a 10 trillion market cap, you know, blah, 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 this. The guy freaking invested in BlockFi and Voyager Digital. But you're supposed to be a stock guy. Now, I'll be honest. I'm not mad at crypto people who buy crypto stocks because they don't know any better. But if you're a stock investor and you know that you're supposed to do valuation models, look at the financials and things like that, it was so obvious as a stock market investor that Voyager Digital and BlockFi were terrible and super risky investments. So obvious.
Right.
So obvious. It's on the balance sheet. It's in their financials that they loaned a bunch of people's deposits out. So that's what makes me the most mad about Beat Kevin. Oh, there you go. I'm so glad this guy brought this up. Yeah, we could go on for days about this guy. He had a period. I'm telling you, this guy is a straight up clown. He's crazy. I'm gonna explain everything. The guy dyes his hair. The guy dyes his hair a different color every week. One day it's green, then it's red, then it's blue.
Imagine taking financial advice from a dude who's out here coloring his hair every single week.
And then riding a go-kart around the neighborhood. He gets in like this weird go-kart and rides it around the neighborhood and records himself screaming. I'm telling you, the guy's in that case. I don't know why anybody would take stocks from this guy, but what makes him such a grifter is he charges like $4,000 for a phone call. So there's that, which is absolutely insane. But then he's got like these crappy courses where most people bought his courses and just lost a lot of money because he pumped a bunch of stocks that are now down 99%. Like it's absolutely insane. But I can't forget about the fact that the guy ran for governor, which I actually used to work in politics.
I actually knew that because when I just started watching YouTube basically last year, like, I don't know, maybe the middle of the year. And I saw that he was running for governor, like interviewing homeless people or something like that. Yep. So that's the only experience with Meet Kevin that I have.
Yeah. The guy ran for governor and he did so bad. Remember, he's running in California, super Democratic state. A Republican got more votes than him.
Damn.
In a Democratic state.
That's not good.
It's like, Jesus, dude, you suck. Like, yeah, that was a huge red flag for me though when the guy ran for governor. But unfortunately, he's not the only one. There are a bunch of grifters and clowns and stocks who seriously don't know what they're talking about. Like if we just pull up a balance sheet and we just ask them, what's this? What's that? What's this? They wouldn't be able to tell you. Like they have no freaking idea. It's the craziest thing ever. but they just have these insane followings.
Yeah, see, and that's kind of the problem with the crypto market. It's that a lot of the market is based on speculation right now. And so we're still trying to figure out, what's important, what isn't important, et cetera. So these guys can get away with saying it because technically maybe they're right, is the kind of thing. And the only reason you can see that they're not right is because they come up with these valuations that simply don't make sense, because the amount of money it would require to drive the prices up to these levels, it's beyond, anything that's within the scope of realism. And people don't understand that. They don't understand that, the number of coins times the price is the market cap. And they don't understand that, well, you can just do the math out on your own and find out that, there's not even that much money in the world. I remember SafeMoon back when that first came out. People making videos talking about SafeMoon going to $1. And I'm just like, dude, the fact that you're tricking people into going out there and buying this stuff, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think from a finance perspective, I think unfortunately a lot of people just aren't realistic. Like I know for me in the stock community, if I could just get 12% a year, I'm fine, because I'm not looking in the stock market to make me rich. You know what I mean? Like I'm not looking for the stock market to make me a millionaire overnight, or this gambling casino mentality. Like I think people really don't understand what investments are actually for. They're for you to build wealth in the long term. And yeah, you could probably do that in crypto too. But I think 2020 and 2021 just really, got people into a space that's just not realistic. And what I'm worried about too, I'll tell you, Jay, is I'm not so sure we'll ever see gains like this again. And if we do, maybe it'll be in the next decade or 20 years, but I just don't see it happening. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people think that when this bear market ends, when the bull market comes back, everything's going to 10x again. And I don't think people understand, like, that's not, even bull markets don't work like that.
Right.
You don't get, because I don't know if you noticed, I think I told you this before. I actually made more gains in crypto in 2021 than I did in stocks.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I 12x'd my money in Cardano because I bought it at 17 cents and it went to $3. And I think people just got caught up in the greed, but I recognize that I just got lucky. That's not realistic at all.
Right.
Like it's just not.
Yeah, and I think that sort of goes with another thing, and it's kind of obvious, but people, I don't think new people into investing don't understand the concept of diminishing returns. And if it's kind of like if you try and learn something, if you want to learn, I don't know, something like archery. It's an obscure example, but you can learn how to shoot an arrow. You can learn 80% of what you need to know within a week. And then that other 20% may take a lifetime to become an expert at. And so, in investing is the same kind of way. It's just like anything, putting that initial work in, the price can go way up by just putting a few dollars in. But now when we're, talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about trillions of dollars here, that, the valuation of Bitcoin that people are talking about. If you want it to get to 100K, 200K, $1 million, like people are saying, we're literally talking about valuations that are so large that type of money just to, even move the needle is, it's insurmountable almost, especially the prices that people are talking about. Like people are talking about 250K this cycle. And it's like, dude, that kind of money is just unrealistic that you're talking about that. And I think, so this idea of diminishing marginal returns, people don't understand. What's this? Oh, I thought he said Dogecoin to $600.
Unfortunately, I'm sure there's some people who say that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If they could make a video talking about it and get away with it, then yeah. I mean, what the Dogecoin topped I think the night of, right before Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live. And that just kind of shows you what a lot of the crypto market's about. It's about, just hype, and then dump on the retail market because they fall for it.
Yeah. And let me say something else to people too. I'm not going to lie to you. Part of me, like, I do believe in the utility of Bitcoin. Oh, I'm not Bitcoin. Well, yeah, Bitcoin, but crypto. Like I believe at least
Right.
the legit ones. And for me, I do want to make this very clear too. I don't think people realize this is why I say you have to be careful in buying the dip. You have to be more strategic. That's why I said for me, I think Bitcoin is going to go at the very least, if not 10K, it'll at least go to like 13 or 11K or something like that. That's what I strongly believe. I think we're going lower. Let me just say that. And for me personally, I actually plan to probably increase my speculative position. So crypto makes about like 5% of my portfolio. I might bring it to 10 just because I know for a fact that the hype will eventually come back.
Right.
And instead of buying at the top like everybody else, or just buying the downtrend, every week we go down, just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. No,
Right.
I'm going to be like the institution. I'm going to wait till we really get max capitulation and max pain, and I'm just going to start loading up a little bit. I'm going to start buying Bitcoin, Ethereum. I may pick another altcoin, and I'm just going to wait for the hype to come back, because that's one thing I will give crypto. I don't think the hype's ever going to go away. I do think that. I don't think the hype's ever going to go away. And again, I do believe in the utility of crypto. We're not entirely sure what place crypto has in our society yet. It's still very speculative, but I do think that crypto does have a place in our society for sure. But yeah, it just really bothers me when people say things like, when Bitcoin was at 60K, buy the dip, 50K, buy the dip, 40K, buy the dip. It's like every single
Yeah.
time these people tell you to buy the dip, and the only people who have the money to actually buy the dip is them. The people that are
Right.
making money off you, which, with the courses and the YouTube. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you're spot on about what you just said in that, the crypto markets, and with that said, we don't know how far it's going to go down from here. And I do think,
Yeah.
like you said, there's a lot of downside potential still, and people at least need to appreciate that fact and probably need to stay away from the really speculative altcoins, like keeping it to fundamentally strong projects. I think that's what you need to do right now. But when the bear market is over, and who knows when that will be, and I think trying to guess when that's going to be is, almost a fool's errand unless there's clear evidence to suggest otherwise. But I think that, buying in these opportunities, or, in these times where the price is so dramatically depressed, especially for the better projects, if you have a long enough time horizon, does tend to pay out, and it pays out in spades. And I think it will, again, if for nothing else than what you just mentioned, in that hype comes along, the markets get hot, people move profits over from stocks into crypto, just like we saw now. People are moving from, the stock market started to heat up after COVID. Then, Fed's just pumping money out there into the market. GameStop starts going to the moon, and then people take the profits from that and move it over into crypto, into the crypto markets.
Yeah. And also there's just this whole notion that just, history, like, it doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Like, we're definitely gonna get
Right.
some sort of like bubble again. And again, I'm not betting on a bubble or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I actually think that the next crypto bull run isn't going to be as ridiculous as it was in 2021. Like, I'm actually not with the people that say Bitcoin's going to go to 300K by this time and blah blah blah. Because you think about it, it went from like what? I'm trying to think of what it was. I think it was $8,000 in December 2020. I think I could be wrong, and then it eventually went up to 69,000. I mean, obviously we can check real quick, but my main point is I think it's going to be a while before you see that crazy run. So I think the main thing that you and I both try to preach to people is just be realistic. Like, stop
Right.
with this crazy, I'm going to do all this, because I feel like a lot of people are going to get very disappointed when this whole thing ends. Oh, somebody brought up a good point. Yeah, I'm going to my bad. You can answer that, but I'm going to put your YouTube in the description or whatever if I can.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, go ahead. I'll figure that out.
I definitely think it's, if you're out there watching a channel, even if you're on a bull market, first of all, a lot of what I do on the channel is trying to show historical trends, and we can see that long-term holders of crypto assets, these tend to be, guys that are they're investing in the bear market, or they've at least held from the prior bull market. And so these tend to be people with, longer time horizons, people that are patient. And what do we see every bull run? They start unloading the asset as the bull run really starts getting kicked off. In fact, we've seen now the last three cycles when we start making new all-time highs, like the second we get back to that prior cycle all-time high, they start unloading. And what's the short-term holder retail market do? They start stockpiling up. So right at the wrong time, the short-term holder, they're piling up, and the long-term holders gladly selling their bags to them at, 100, 200, 300, 400, et cetera, up to, 1,000% or more gains that they made because they were buying in the bull market, or sorry, in the bear market. They're selling to that retail market because they're FOMOing in, because they're watching YouTube. We saw it back in the last cycle, and we saw it again this cycle. And this is kind of why I like Bitcoin, and why, another reason that it attracts me is because we have all this data. We can go see this data. We can see specifically what's happening, that people that tend to not profit are investing now, and people that tend to profit are getting out of the market now.
Yeah. Nice. So do you have any, what, if you're able to name them, can you name some crypto channels that I might need to start going after? Because I'm sure that is my specialty.
Man, you're going to get me in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Well, okay.
Well, you don't have to.
I can start by first of all, unfortunately, for some reason, a lot of these people tend to be people, a lot of the people that I may mention are people that, their fans watch my channel as well.
Of course.
Because they haven't come to appreciate the fact that, even though there's a stark difference between what they're saying and what I'm saying, and I'm not sitting here trying to claim that I'm, some sort of savant and I know everything that's going on, but I can assure you that I'm doing, actual data analysis, and I'm giving you at minimum a realistic perspective. And I'm not telling you that my bear case for 2022 is Bitcoin going to 300K, which is what these clowns are saying. Okay. So we'll start with the low hanging fruit. Someone like Alex Becker. I don't know if you know who that is.
Ooh. Yeah,
this dude,
I know who that is. He's not the worst, but
he's not the worst.
Yeah, he's not the worst, but I'm familiar with his channel. I get it.
Yeah. And I mean, but even him, he doesn't hide the fact of what he's doing. He's clearly telling you we're going for moonshots. That's all we're doing here. I think it's a noob trap at the end of the day. But I mean, there's, at least when you're being clear about what you're doing. Now the clickbait title is saying that, must last chance to get in on this 1 million X
to be a millionaire. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So my beef with someone like him is, it's a noob trap that you're not lying necessarily. You're telling people what potentially could 1 million X or, 1,000 X or whatever it is, because they're micro caps. But 99.99% of those are going to zero and are never going to go up. All right. And so that's kind of my beef with him. So I don't really care about those guys. That's fine. That's a niche. You're doing your niche. That's fine. The guys that I care about that tend to be the ones that I kind of like intersect in terms of, people that watch their channels and watch mine are the ones that act like they're doing actual analysis and act like, their business acumen or something gives them the right or entitles them to tell you what you should be doing with your money when they're objectively wrong about what they're saying. It's just wrong. And, they're misleading, and they get these people to buy into sort of the cult following that is their channel. Because let's face it, these big channels do have, I don't know if you want to call it fanboys or whatever you want to call it.
Oh no, well, we're gonna be honest, that's a cult.
Yeah, I mean, you start to believe in something that everyone else around you can see is a load of crap, and you start to buy into it to such a degree that you become physically angry by the fact that someone's attacking them. And that's kind of how these channels become. Even though you're getting annihilated by their advice, people buy into it to that degree. And so I'm, I've already, let's put it this way. Within the last 2 weeks, I've already been a 1v500, fending off Ben Cohen's fanboys. Yeah. So I'm not looking to necessarily do that again next week. I'll tell you off air though.
That's fine. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get a lot of fanboys and these guys are weird. They will find you on Instagram, on
Oh yeah.
Twitter, and they would just start lighting you up. You're dumb, you're stupid, you're like they
Yeah.
just start losing their minds on you and blah blah blah. It's
You,
like,
you notice they never have their actual picture either. It's always a
yes,
cartoon or
a
some dude
freaking
with
cat. Yeah, it's like
a
a
cat
cat or
on his
something.
head or something. It's like,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
bro.
At least be man enough to DM me on your real account.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You get
because I
like these
mean,
freaking burner accounts.
yeah, I mean, I love to go toe to toe with people, but it's like I'm over here fighting a dude with a picture of a frog. It's like, right, dude.
Oh man,
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. That's exactly how it goes, and it's unfortunate. But you hit something very key, and that's exactly why I do what I do to try and help people. And I think that's
Right.
a big reason why you do what you do too. There are a lot of people who, unfortunately, it's like at this point, everybody's kind of woken up. At least the new people. Like there are a lot of people woken up. They know that a lot of these people are scammers,
Right.
and it's kind of like the silent majority. It's like, okay, they left. They're like, screw this, whatever. But you still have this faction of people who still buy into the crap, even though they've lost a ton of money. And that's what scares me the worst, because it's the same thing in the stock world. You have people who got into these courses, promised that they would make money, and what happened was they actually lost money. But
Right.
guess what they get told? Oh, you got to be long term, bro. You got to hold for the next 4 to 5 years.
Right.
You got to do this. Warren Buffett says this. I hate the Warren Buffett quote so much.
Well, it's funny because when we're in the bull market, it's all about immediate, it's all going to the moon right now.
Yeah,
But then as soon as it doesn't turn out that way for them, they shift the narrative to, well, just look down the road, just wait till the end of 2022. And when the end of 2022 comes and, they didn't make any money, well, just wait till the halving, the Bitcoin
yeah,
halving. That's when, you'll start making all your money. So it's just kick the can down the road until you finally get to wherever, you said you're going. So they
yeah,
kind of play to
absolutely.
that narrative.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I think people like you and I, obviously, we're small, and most of these people are scared to do it, or they just don't want to give us clout. Which I think you and I both don't really care that much. Like we'd rather
Right.
just debate and just tell you how dumb you are. Like
Yeah.
let's prove it, obviously respectfully. But I think that's really the way to go. I think we just need to start debating these people. Like just go on, just destroy them in the debate, and show them why they don't know anything. Because I know for me, there's actually this YouTuber who like pumps Palantir. He's got like 13,000 subscribers, and I'm actually supposed to debate him, or at least he agreed to it. Now, I DM'd him yesterday. What day is it? I DM'd him this morning.
He didn't respond.
Yeah, he started to get a little flaky. But it's funny because at first he was all for it. He's like, let's go. But I don't know if he checked out my channel, and I don't know what happened, but he's starting to flake a little bit. And it's
I mean,
unfortunate because I think a debate would actually help them. If you know what you're talking about, okay, hold your own in the debate then.
right. Yeah, I mean, exactly. If you have conviction in what you're saying and you are sure that you're right, you shouldn't have a problem challenge or having your thoughts challenged. But they never want to do that. And the problem is a lot of times you can't get them to engage you in an honest back and forth, or at least engage you in honest dialogue anyway, unless you sort of stoop down to a lower level where you like insult them or call them out or something, because they'll just ignore it if you ask them a legitimate question. And
Yeah, you're right.
what I experienced the other day when I was engaging with Ben Cohen's fans, half the time if they asked me something or said something to me, I'd give a legitimate response, and they would just kind of ignore it or just go straight to an insult, because you can't stand on your actual beliefs. So you have to resort to ignoring what is being said to you or challenging it with an insult.
Yeah, I
And
agree. Yep. Yep. No, sorry if
so,
you were still talking.
no, I mean, that's kind of just what it is. And I mean, that's the problem with the space. And, a lot of people, in spite of the fact that, I also think there's people kind of watch a lot of these channels at this point. Not necessarily because it's exciting, but it's entertainment. And you have to remember, entertainment can be bland. It doesn't necessarily need to be like, watching a sitcom. Doesn't mean that they're cracking jokes or whatever, but it's just kind of a routine. They're in that routine. They like the person,
Yep.
even if they don't believe in their advice. And I think after so much time, it just becomes, well, you know, this person's just part of my daily routine now, so they kind of stick with them regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for the 33 of you guys in here, I just want to make this clear. I think you guys know him too, but the guy Amit Investing, the Palantir, and literally this guy's just a straight. He picks for I don't think you know him, but he picks one stock, which is this very risky freaking software company, and
Right.
his entire channel is based on that. He just talks about it all the time, and I'm just letting everybody know because I know they know who he is. That guy changed his tune real quick. I don't know what happened after the 4th of July, but before that, he was so ready to debate. He was so confident, and now he's not really responding. He seemed to be a little scared.
Yeah, they get scared. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be nice to him. I'm going to give him till Friday, and if he doesn't, then I'm just going to downright make a video and call him out. I'm going to be like, don't be scared.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I think there's also good to be, because, you know, like I said in the beginning, I don't think necessarily just because someone has an opinion that one may find or that turns out to be objectively wrong. I don't think that means that they had, you know, some sort of nefarious motive behind it.
Yeah.
Some people may believe what they're saying and it just doesn't pan out for them. And I don't think people necessarily should be skewered for that. It's when, you know, they're wrong and they can't admit that they're wrong, because if you are in this game and, you know, you're talking about assets or markets are going to catch you off guard every once in a while. It's just going to happen. And it's about, you know, being truthful and honest about, you know, what went wrong, why it caught you off guard, etc.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, this guy right here says, wouldn't be disappointed if you replaced Invest Answers on that weekly DCA they do.
All right.
I think I know what he's talking about.
I'm going to keep it real. Invest Answers is the guy I was talking about.
Oh, him too?
Yeah, he's a troll.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, that's crazy, because don't they do that with Rob? I think it's Rob they do it with.
Yeah, Rob, I like Ben and Rob. I mean, let's put it this way. I suppose I have, you know, quote unquote beef with Ben, which I really don't. It's just, you know, stop making my videos, bro.
All
but right. I don't know. The Invest Answers dude, it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to go too much into it, but
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I mean,
I actually watched this channel. I did not like him when I watched his channel, because I'm gonna tell you. Oh, go ahead.
So he does things like says, you know, this is just a mathematical, first of all, like math, money, freedom, or something like that. His math is dividing Bitcoin by Ethereum and like calling that a model. That's not a model. That's looking at what the Bitcoin valuation compared to Ethereum is. That's not a model. It's an insult to people that are actually making models, which take, you know, weeks, if not months, to make and test and, you know, back test and sort of making sure that you're not you know, leading people astray by making false assumptions and things like that. So he does these like simplistic things that, you know, they're not models. They don't mean anything. They often come to false conclusions. And then, you know, consistently telling people that, you know, oh, this is max pain, like Bitcoin max pain at 52K or 62K or something like that. And, you know, pushing Solana repeatedly all the way down until, you know, it's down to whatever, making videos, you know, it's a theoretical framework. Luna to $80,000 a month before Luna goes to zero, right?
Did he actually say that?
This. Yeah. But he, once you're in the video, it becomes so the video is called Luna to 80,000. And then he just, you know, it's a theoretical model. I'm not actually saying this is going to happen, but this is a theoretical model, right? So it's just, you know, it's all just stuff that sort of instills that hopium into people, that, you know, that false belief that these things can do this because of, you know, potentially this could happen. And he was talking about, you know, Luna and its dynamics with UST and how, you know, minting UST could lead to Luna going to $80,000 theoretically. And it's like, you know, it's like half truths. You're not lying.
Yeah.
But you're also being so incredibly dishonest at the same time that, you know, you're just hurting your average person. You're hurting your average follower.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so now that brings everything to perspective because, like I said, I'm sure you know I like Rob with the digital asset news, and he actually likes my
Right.
channel too. But yeah, Rob knows I keep it real. That's another reason why I do respect him because he knows how I am. Like I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. I just call it how I see it. And I will be honest, I'm kind of with you. I did check out Invest Answers, and I did not like his channel at all.
Yeah.
And I only watched like a few videos, and I'm just like, what in God's name is he talking about? But it's like when you're in the investing sphere and you really do that, you can just kind of tell the BS. You really can. You're like, what the
Right.
heck? I'm like, what the heck is he talking about?
Yeah. I
So
mean,
okay, that's good to know.
yeah, you know, and I won't sit here and say like all his stuff is terrible. And, you know, I just think, and he's actually one of these guys that I don't know. I think he may actually believe what he's saying. So you don't want to like necessarily knock everyone for having an opinion if they're wrong. But at the same time,
Mhm.
it's like when you're wrong, you should like just, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm a boomer, so I don't even know if you're allowed to say this, but you should man up and admit that you're wrong.
Yeah,
There's all sorts of stuff you can't say in 2022. So I don't know if
I
that
know.
that falls under that purview.
It's the woke culture.
Yeah,
Got to be politically correct in everything you
that's
say.
right.
Well, all right. We've been here for an hour and 20 minutes. Any final words or anything like that before we go ahead and wrap it up?
I mean, just, you know, I think the last thing that I could say to people is watch out for what's coming. I think that we're kind of you know, in a precarious spot right now. I don't know that we'll necessarily, you know, snowball down into this catastrophic economic set of events that people are talking about that could potentially happen. But I think that there are enough things going on right now. By the way, we didn't even mention the fact that, you know, Ukraine and Russia are fighting a war right now and all of the effects on, you know, fuel prices, et cetera, that that's having,
Yep.
food prices. But, you know, I think there's a lot of things going on right now that could send us down to some of these, you know, more worst case scenario type situations. And people need to have a healthy respect for that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm gonna answer this last question. Do you think Cardano will be valuable in the long term? Yeah, you can go first. You're the guest.
Uh, I mean, it's had its problems. It has a lot of backing in the, you know, crypto investors. You know, a lot of people are invested in it. But I think, you know, one other thing that I didn't mention before that you need to keep in mind with cryptocurrency, especially, you're talking about 2000, what, 2000, I can't even remember when Cardano started to be developed, but essentially that's 2016, 2000 or 2017, 18, 19 technology. What about these layer ones that start coming out in 2021, 2022, 2023? What about the layer one that comes out in 2026? That's going to be knock the socks off of Cardano in terms of speed, knock the socks off of Cardano in terms of scalability. And people aren't asking that question, and I don't know why. So these layer ones that are out now, you know, they all have an issue with scalability or speed, or, you know, it's the trilemma. You have to sacrifice something. And, you know, what about technology in the future when they start to solve some of these problems? Why would Cardano necessarily, you know, why would that confer any advantages over this new technology? So that's at least one additional thing to consider. So while I do like Cardano, you know, I also have a healthy appreciation for the fact that new technology could come out and sort of obsolete a lot of what we talk about right now.
Nice. All right. And there you guys have it. We'll leave it at that. So yeah, thanks Jay for being on here. We'll definitely have
Yeah,
to do
thanks
this
for having me,
again.
man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
definitely. Yeah, thanks for being on here. Great conversation about crypto, a little bit of stocks, and a little bit about these crazy people on YouTube who like to say things that make no sense. So yeah, there you guys have it. That'll go ahead and conclude this interview slash video slash conversation. And again, thanks so much for coming on, man. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.